Alrighty, we are live, I hope. Looks like I am. Just making sure. Yep, I'm a little late. Sorry about that. Just getting dinner cleaned up. Kids ready for bed. But give me a quick sound check. Make sure you guys can see and hear me before we get started. Got some early people in the chat. G. James. This is going to be his PC and the upgrades that we'll be doing tonight. And I see we got Pinky Tech in the chat. So let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Alright. I am taking it by the fact that I am live. Here. Y'all can hear me okay, right? Just want to make sure. I need a more formalized way of checking my stream in a way that I can also verify other than just doing a pre-test of the stream. But anywho, what is going on, guys? So we've got, as you can see up in front of me, a load of upgrades to upgrade this PC here. If you guys are not new to the channel, which I think all the people I see in the chat currently are not, then you know what this PC is. We built this PC not too long ago. Words having trouble here. Not too long ago, or before the turn of the year, and it's back for some upgrades, which I had a feeling it would be. The client is excited with the performance of his gaming and wants to take it to the next level. So we just basically went after what should be relatively sensible upgrades for trying to also keep this platform together as much as possible. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of parts that we're going to be throwing into it, but I thought it'd be a pretty fun stream for you guys. Actually, I have never done a stream where I've taken in a PC and then done upgrades and then turned it back out. It's usually just been a first time build, so this will be a little bit of the same and a little bit of something different for you guys. All right, so I'm not going to waste any time because we've got to tear into this thing quite a bit to get all these parts in here. So we're gonna get rolling on that. I'm gonna probably just get the PC off to the side a little bit here as we get rolling. So I guess real quick we'll talk about what we're doing is, if you guys aren't familiar with the PC and what it was previously, it was about an $800 build that was focused on mainly streaming and gaming as a whole, as well as some content creation. And it's a pretty solid build. There's nothing wrong with it at all whatsoever. It's just, you know, we're all, I think, enthusiasts here, and the itch was felt to do some upgrades. Every time I do something like this for like someone who's wanting upgrades, I want to upgrade my own stuff too. But so nothing particularly long. We were working with a 5600 Ryzen 5, a 2060 Super for GPU, 32 gigs of Vengeance RGB memory, which we're just going to double up. But the motherboard is a slightly older motherboard. It's a B450 motherboard, so we're getting an upgrade that will support some later gen PCIe lanes, as well as just better for the system in general in terms of delivering power, etc. Obviously, with an upgrade in CPU, which we'll be moving into, which now we're going to be putting in a Ryzen 5 5800X. So the standard AMD cooler it'll do okay, but it's not going to do great. So I want to go with the tried and trusty Vetri V5, which I know can tame that beast, and actually also look good. We've got a white model, and then Aorus B550 motherboard. But the big one here is the GPU, which we've got is an RTX 3070 Ti Vision, which I think is going to look stunningly well inside this black and white build PC. Other things I'll just be dealing with. I got some power cables sitting out in the way, but anyway, I got to make some room, so we're gonna have to tear out the motherboard. We're gonna have to tear out most of the components that are in the build and then start putting these back in. So let's get most of this out of the way because we need to really make some space with what we're working with here for the moment. So I'm actually just going to get all this out of the way real quick, guys. So make some quick plugs on my socials and my channel and the community while I'm doing this. If you guys are first timers to this stream and my channel and you're not subscribed, well, then that's definitely the best way and easiest and simplest way, as well as free, to support me. That way you'll be notified of anything that comes out that I do like this. I do try to do a live stream once a month. hopefully maybe in the future do a little more, time permitting. I actually have to travel for work this week, so this is all you're going to get from me for this week. But other things to stay in touch and up to date with in terms of my channel and my content, I've got a Discord channel. All this stuff is actually down on the description of this stream, so all the parts that we're putting in here as well as all my socials. So if this is your first time, get connected and get going on that, because I got tons of stuff I'm always working on. Dang, we got a super chat flying in already from G James. This is the owner of this PC that's getting some upgrades. Thank you very much, sir, for the super chat. You did not have to do that. I know you already spent a fair amount of money getting these upgrades going, but I do appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. And by the way, guys, he is also a Fortnite player, probably I consider pro level, because he'd whoop my butt, but that's basically a big thing that he does. He goes and does live streams on Fortnite. Feel free to plug your socials if you want there, G James, so you get some of my people following you. But yeah, great player, and he's just looking to get some performance upgrades on his rig. So, all right. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the back panel off here just so we have some space to work with. We got to tear into this bad boy, remove the motherboard, remove the GPU. Pretty much everything you see is coming out. I'm just gonna get this side panel out of the way, off camera. All right. So basically all we're really keeping, funny, is the power supply and the case and the hard drive, NVMe drive, and the RAM that's already in it. So a lot of this has got to go. So I've got the back panel undone. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay it down on its side here and start taking some things off as far as just power connections and what have it. All right, here we go. Let me make sure I got that camera more well adjusted actually for you guys. There we go, that's a little better. All right, oh, I got a lot of people in the chat. Thanks everyone for joining the chat and seeing this PC get put back together with some beefy upgrades. All right, I think what I'll do here is I'm gonna just get all these power cables disconnected here, so that should give us enough room to kind of, what we need to do is kind of get a motherboard assembly put back in. So I'm just trying to make some space to do that. Get the video card connector off. That one up there is going to be a fun one to get the CPU. I think what I had to do when I built this is I had to take this fan down. That's all right. So the top fan right here is basically I can't get my fingers in there really to pop the CPU power off, so I'm just going to loosen the fan here so I can get that out of there. All right. Just checking on you guys in the chat. Got a bunch of people in right now. What's everybody doing today other than watching my live stream? Whoop. My kids are on spring break. They go back to school on Wednesday, so my house will be a little more quiet during the day. And still working on this fan here. What I'm hoping here is I can just get all of the power connectors off of the motherboard. I'm probably, yeah, I'll pull the GPU just to get it out of the way, and then try to take out this and the biggest, the singular assembly is what I was trying to say there. All right, so let's get that guy unplugged. That's a fun reach. Okay, got it. I'll have to shove that back. What we'll do is stand it up here in a minute and then shove that back there so I can actually get it out. GPU, so let's get this out. Again, nothing wrong with this system whatsoever. You know, it's just an $800 system doesn't perform quite like a, well, this will be probably coming in close to almost 2,000, I think, when you say everything's said and done. Maybe around 1,500. I didn't quite do the math, but like I said, parts list is in the description below if you want to check that out. But yeah, this should be a pretty solid rig. Very solid. Here we're getting this little back plate thing off here. There we go. Get that out of the way so I can get this GPU out here. Alright. Okie doke. So, just pop the retention bracket there, and this should come right on out. There we go. So, this thing's still looking like it's brand new. I remember when we got it, it was like in really good shape. This actually was a used card I bought off of, I want to say it was, yeah, I found one on this same exact type of card off Jawa, but then ended up, it sold before it went real quick. So I found the same exact one, luckily, on eBay. So eBay is still such a really good place to buy GPUs now, especially with the crypto market basically being a non-factor. So lots of people are dumping hardware that is still really good, and obviously just not making the crypto miners any money anymore, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. Oh yeah, that's right. We do have a little Wi-Fi adapter here, because this motherboard is actually an older B450 motherboard that didn't have built-in Wi-Fi, which the new one will, so we don't need to replace this. Just get it up and out of the way, because I'm going to be lifting the motherboard out. I think that little connector pops off. Yeah, see if I can get that little guy. That's probably pretty hard for you guys to see. Hard for me to see. Don't want to break it. I'd love to reuse this. This is a great little Wi-Fi card. Let's see. I hate these tiny little power connectors sometimes. They are real tough to work with. It's coming. There we go. Alright. It's that little itty bitty tiny connector I was trying to unplug there. I gotta turn my overhead fan on. It's cooking in this room. Alrighty. And to make sure I don't get all my screws all just completely lost on my table here. So right now we're just pulling the screws to the motherboard off so we can get it out of here. Come on, get out of there. I did happen to get a new Be Quiet screwdriver. Did some upgrades to a buddy system. We bought a Be Quiet cooler. It's not the Dark Rock Pro, but the Dark Rock 4. I think that's a really big beefy cooler, and it came with a new. So I've got a nice new magnetic screwdriver again. Like my other Be Quiet screwdrivers failed me. Still have it. Still need to work on getting it magnetized again. SD1 Raider says he missed the GPU, a 3080. No, it's a 3070 Ti. We were looking for 3080s, and they're just kind of still up there a little bit in price. And we were also kind of looking for something that would aesthetically match the PC. So that's kind of why I was driven towards a white GPU. So we might have paid a little bit extra of a premium when it comes to GPU to get the Gigabyte Vision card, but I'd say it's worth it. It's going to look freaking killer in the system. Just trying to keep up with the guys in the chat here while I'm doing the old screwing these screws out. Man, lost that one. There it is. Okay. Yeah, and actually what I see some G James is talking about. So if you live near me in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you want to do a PC build, well, you better only be talking to me, right? No, just kidding. But I'm starting to try to get into shipping systems too. Seeing that I have a flip build that I did a video on, I still have not found a buyer for. So if you guys have seen that video and you want the behind-the-scenes update on that, no bites. Well, a couple bites, but people just trying to, rub me the wrong way with that. But anyway, where I'm going with that is possibly branching out and selling systems at least within probably the domestic United States, just because it would probably cost an atrocious amount of money to ship them anywhere else. Maybe Canada would still be okay too. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so a lot of these parts you guys will see again, because I'm going to be basically using these to build out a new system, because a lot of this is basically the pure guts to building a system as it is. So Yeah, I offered the client here of this build some money to take his parts off of him. So all he has to do is basically take home his brand new, even faster PC when I meet with him soon. Alright, so I think that should be all of the screws. Just making sure before I give it a good solid yank. Nope. Good thing I did, because I still got one left in there. But we got all the power connections just about pulled off here. We'll go back to the other scene so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Just trying to get all these screws out of here and also... There we go. Okay. That should be all of them. And he's got a little Wi-Fi, mouse Wi-Fi thing. You left your little dongle connected. I got you, though. I'll put it right back. Alright, there we go. That was holding it in. And we've got, I think we're stuck on the peg here too, so we need to give a gentle lift. There we go. We are free. Now the fun part of getting it out. This will be a fun one. Trying to not disassemble completely everything to get it out. So I still have the HD audio cable still plugged on. Now I don't. I think what I want to do is kind of try to tip it forward. This fan is fighting me, as I thought it would. Come on, man, come on. And we're fighting the... I'm going to have to push that motherboard power cable back in there. Okay, yeah. Oh, I forgot with this cooler, it's got that USB connector. I got to pull that off. So there's a little tiny USB connector to control the LEDs on this fan, which he's not going to need anymore because he's going to have a new, beefier cooler that's causing us some issues pulling the board out. Okay, now should just about have it. Here she comes. All right, perfect. So yeah, we got like a full basically assembly. I do need to get the RAM off and I need to get the NVMe off, but that's no big deal. I think for a second I'm gonna get the case just out of my way because we got to prep the new board. So we'll get that out of sight, out of mind just for the moment. There we go. All right. All right, so what we got to do, as mentioned, get that drive off. I need a smaller screwdriver to get that, and popping a RAM off is real simple here. We're just, there it goes. Because he's taking this one. This is 32 gigs, good RAM, so I want to make sure he takes that along. So we're upgrading to 64 gigs. We didn't necessarily need it, but more or less we're targeting the aesthetic of filling out the board, as well as, you know, because he does do streaming. Don't want RAM to bottleneck us in any possible potential way. So 64 gigs should be plenty. Pretty much overkill in my opinion, but he'll never have to upgrade that part again. So unless we go to like a DDR5 system next, then it's all doing this again. All right, so we're taking this out. This is so I've got a drive underneath this heatsink that I put on. This was a little bonus I gave him. I do actually have to pull it out of here because the motherboard we're putting it into already has something similar to this. Actually, I would consider it probably, you know, looks a little better. It's for the aesthetic, so we'll take that out. And now I can get this motherboard out of the way. So I might be going a lot of back and forth here, guys. Alright, off camera I'm just grabbing the motherboard, new motherboard box, and RAM and CPU. Here we go. Actually, I think I'll get this graphics card a bit out of the way too, since I won't need this anymore. Okay. Alright, I'd say that's a good of a breaking point there for a sec to take a sip of water and see how y'all are doing. Alright. PCTH says, pull it just till you hear a snap. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to reuse that board, so. Yeah, it looks like I got maybe some of the owner of this PC's buddies in the channel. So thanks, guys, for dropping in. Like I mentioned earlier, if you aren't subscribed or follow my content, well then, and you're enjoying what you're seeing, well then, there's a subscribe button down below. Give it an old click. Do have a Discord channel too that helps you really keep track of what I'm doing, because I know sometimes with YouTube it does some weird algorithm stuff. Whoops, I just knocked my camera around. I probably got the overhead camera all looking funky now. Let me just make sure. Okay. No. All right. I think we're okay. There we go. All right. So we've got motherboard out of the box, the new motherboard, and I don't think I need anything else that it comes with, because I think all the screws for the M.2s are already pre-attached to the motherboard. We could end up using this Gigabyte, like they call it the smart connector or whatever, when you're plugging in the front panel stuff. So I guess we'll go ahead and use that. Wi-Fi, obviously we're not worried about that. That's the adapter for now. So let's get this box out of the way. I do like me my Gigabyte boards. If you guys haven't seen already, it's kind of my preferred go-to. Not to say that, I mean, the board we just took out was an MSI board, worked completely fine, so it's just kind of more of a personal preference thing. And since I've been using them in my personal rigs, I have more of a basis of you know, field testing, you can say, as far as, you know, making sure that they're good. It's good stuff. In my personal system, I have a X570 Master for mine. So here we go. Oh, let me turn that right way up for you guys. So here we go. This is a beautiful board. So Aorus, again, I think more of what I'm attracted to is also their aesthetic, but very good looking board, and lots more offerings that the other board just simply doesn't have. We've got really good power delivery and VRM. Lots of system fan headers, RGB headers, built-in Wi-Fi, all the good stuff. And this is it. This is a really good buy too. They're about $150, $165, brand new on Amazon. So it's the B550 Elite AX V2. So it's really, I think it's a really good, you know, middle ground, good-looking board that gives you kind of like pretty much everything you need. All right, so I guess since I have it in my hand, I'm going to just take the screws off of this heatsink here. Oh, is that a different size? No, I got it. Because I want to get the heatsink off this SSD real quick. We won't be I guess I'll keep this heatsink for some other build. These things are like $7 on Amazon. I really like it, and you'll see why, because the drive we have underneath has a white label, which actually would have gone fine, I think, with his build. But I think this just kind of looks more sleek previously, but it basically the label, you know, it's still visible, like the branding and stuff, so it's kind of not as pretty to look at. So here we go, pull this apart. So it comes with some thermal pads, and see if I can, hopefully that thermal pad isn't really attached to that. I'm just kind of wiggling it back and forth, getting that thermal pad to release. Come on. We don't want to damage this drive. We need this drive. Don't worry, I'm not going to break it. I don't care about the thermal pad. I have plenty of those if I need to reuse it. Not bad. Still salvageable. It's pretty new, and we just put this together like back in December, so there you go. So these are cool. The cooling component probably not super necessary. It's more of an aesthetic choice that we made on that, but I'm not going to put the two thermal pads together there, and then it'll be really stuck together. But let me get that out of there. I think I just bumped my camera again. I've been doing that all night. All right, so here we go. So like I said, it just had the has the label, which, you know, and it also kind of has like a somewhat of a bluish green PCB there up front. So the great thing is we'll get that cover back up and looking pretty again with the new one. So since I got it in hand, I'm just going to install the NVMe drive first. So as simple as this, guys. As you saw earlier, I'm just going to line up the notch. Get that sucker pushed in until we hear a click. Nice click. And this has a built-in, like I said, thermal pad and heatsink. So we're just going to take off the little sticky, or I'm sorry, the plastic. So we reveal the sticky side of the thermal pad. And then just line everything up. Do it the right way. Actually, whoops, I forgot this one requires you to first attach it and then attach the heatsink. So it already has the little M.2 screw underneath here. I just need to push it down. It was already screwed into the board, and then reattach the screw with the NVMe drive. There we go. Sorry if I'm sniffling too. I had some allergy stuff that's been bugging me lately, so Apologize if you're hearing that in your speakers. I'm going to try not to do that too much to you. Alright, so now we've got the heatsink down. It's like you can't even tell it's there. And with this board, it's got another one. This board's only got 2. Some of the super high-end boards will have 3 and 4, but 2 should be plenty fine for what he's doing. Alrighty, let's move on into CPU next. We've got the Ryzen 7 5800X. So previously we had 6 cores and 12 threads. And you guys are going to have to fact check me on this, exactly the boost frequencies. But basically what we're after here is we're trying to eliminate any potential CPU bottleneck by staying within the platform. Even though we did change motherboard. The next step up here really be like a 5800X 3D, which goes up quite a bit in price. And or a 5900X, which again goes up. I think the 5900Xs still go for around $400 or so, which is pretty nice considering what they used to be. But 5800Xs can be bought at brand new value price on Amazon for around $210. So even these have come to, I mean, these used to be like $500, and this is just one single generation old. It's technically still considerably new. And the way kind of the Ryzen stuff going anyway, I don't know if I'd recommend 7000 just yet. It seems like there's lots of weird nuances still going on there. So we're going to get this out of the clamshell here and get it installed on the motherboard. SD1 Raider says dual NVMe heatsink. Heatsinks is clutch. Yeah, I like it. And especially on this board, they're uniform looking. They look really nice. Definitely adds to the aesthetic of the board. All right, so we're getting this out of here. You guys have seen me do it 100 times now, I think, by this point. But, you know, we're going to make sure that Ryzen is reading top down. That's what I always say. Line up our, let's see where the triangle is there. Yeah, right up here, down with the triangle down on the board. Only can go one way. If you've never done it before, definitely do not mash on this. This should just drop right in, and then we just close our retention arm. Boom, CPU installed. I'm going to try to keep up with my trash and get it out of the way here. Alright, so we've got 4 sticks of RAM to install, so let's do that next. Alright, just smash it in, doesn't matter, says Pinky Tech. Are you trying to like make my viewers break stuff? Then come over to your channel and say, hey, you told me to do this. Now, you guys, if you guys aren't familiar with Pinky Tech, give him a watch. He likes to goof around in my chat most of the time. Give me a hard time mostly is what he's after. But he's got a YouTube channel as well where he does a lot of the same exact stuff I do here. Great content creator. Let's get you to the 1,000 sub marks. How far away are you? You close, man? Maybe we can bump it tonight. I need a knife. But yeah, he's got some good content. We me, him, and another guy. I don't know if he's here tonight. The net guy. The 4 of us kind of share ideas on YouTube and PC building and all that kind of stuff. 200 something away. All right, everybody that is in this chat, if you are not subscribed to Pinky Tech, go over there, subscribe now. He does lots of good stuff just like this, so you won't be missing out, and you'll enjoy it. All right, and the last dim here we're going in. Another thing with these like there is nothing that like kind of some of these will show like branding up on top that kind of help guide you like if you're doing it the right way. So I'm just double checking myself. I don't want to mash on something and break it like Pinky Tech said. All right, so all the RAM is installed. Let's get the cooler next. And I gotta find where I put it. There it is. Sorry, just off camera grabbing stuff. I don't have a ton of space where I stream from, so I have to make do with what I got. So what do we got here? We've got the good old tried and trusty Vitru, however the heck you pronounce it, V5. And the cool thing about this one is white. Actually, this is the first time I've done the white one. But we're trying to match up the aesthetic of the build. But This cooler is great, and it's super underrated. It's really good quality, and it's really made its namesake here within, I'd say, the last couple of years of being kind of like the Hyper 212 from Cooler Master replacement, even though they're still making that cooler. So it's got a really similar design. I guess they all do at this kind of price and build. But the really cool thing is it can handle a pretty stout CPU. I put one of these to the test. Oh wow, that looks great. Nice white. It's all white. Look at that. I like it. But I put one of these to the test on my 5950X, and it kept it plenty cool without a problem. That's pretty much what is assuring me that it'll keep this 5800X plenty cool as well. If it doesn't, well then I guess I'll eat my words and replace it, but I'm pretty sure we'll be fine. If we got time, maybe we can run some stress tests. I don't know. We'll see how long it's going to take us to get through all this. But I think my last stream I used a couple of these too. It's just that good. These coolers go for about $20, $25, maybe $30 at the most. I'm trying to remember off the top of the head. But what you get is a great package as far as cooling capability. Got kids running around the house and stuff, so pardon me if you hear some of that in the current. Okay, that's right. This does not need to, we don't, that's what we did. Yeah, I don't think we need to use this back plate. I'm not even looking at the directions. It just we get it set up to screw into the existing AMD back plate. So I need to find the AMD hardware. I'll flip the scene so you guys can see it a little better what I'm doing. So I got the AMD hardware here. We've got the fan. Get that up out of the way. Pre-installed nice rubber grommets too, so it's not going to cause any vibrations and noise. Believe I need that. We need that. And that should be good. That's Intel. This is Intel. Get that out of the way. We ain't doing Intel tonight. Okay. So this I need to get attached to. The only thing I can't remember is if the bracket attaches to the top or the bottom. So I just want to make sure. I believe it's the bottom. I haven't done enough of these to completely memorize the process, unless somebody in the chat knows. But I will verify here really quick. Looking like it yep, attaches to the bottom. Okay, that's all I needed to really know. But yeah, all right. Then also we need to make sure we line things up properly, because this does come with an AM4 and AM3, so you can go all the way back. This thing's pretty much, actually I think it was set on the right one. Let me double check. So first thing I need to do is actually, let's start on backing out the screws on the current back plate. Yeah, Pinky, it's on the bottom. I just verified, but yeah, I think it's been a month since I've done one, so I think that's generally how it is with most. But yeah, you definitely want to do that right, so you got the tolerances right. So we're taking the top thing that the motherboard comes with off. Just get that out of the way. Alright. Okay. Starting to have piles of screws in every direction here. Okay. And I just want to line this up, make sure first. So this is a good way to make sure you're doing it right to begin with. I think it might need to go on the, let's double check. The inside? Let's push it to the inside. Make sure that lines up. Okay, that looks like it's lining up. I believe so. Yep, okay. So inside, so it's got two settings on the little thing here. What I'm doing is I'm just moving this back in. It's really hard to see what I'm doing, but yeah, just positioning that properly. So that way it'll go down easily. Perfect. I think be like that. Now I'm guessing at it. Let me just check the instruction, make sure I got it pointing the correct way. Let's see. That's got it. Yeah, it's kind of like they point at each other. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So now we want to get these attached to the cooler itself. There's some screw holes underneath. Probably kind of hard. It's might be a little washed out because it's so white. But we're getting some screws down on these brackets here to attach it to the cooler, and then it'll just drop right on in the socket. So that is the cool thing I like about this cooler with AMD is you can utilize the existing backplate, and it's way better of a backplate than Intel. Let's see, that right size screw bit. Will this work? Cool, that'll work. All right, and dropped it. There we go. Sit that on down. Jeff Curl asking, is this upgrade parts for his bro-in-law? Well, turns out it is, sir. And thank you for joining. Must be bored on a Monday night. Alright, this is still going. Alright, now bit down on it. That bit down. Okay. Get the other one. I think I already moved it. Yep. So I go not like that. Like that. Once we get this motherboard assembly rolling, we'll see a lot of this come together here pretty soon. So just checking on my chat here while I'm screwing things down. Yes, I guess I could tape it there with duct tape, but I don't know how long that would last. Yep, Jonathan says, don't forget the sticker. I'm not forgetting. I've done that before. But thank you for the reminder. I could say I think I've only done that maybe once or twice. The red lettering definitely makes it easy to see. So what Jonathan's talking about is any new cooler usually has this protected because it's usually bare copper or nickel plating. Keep it nice and fresh, but we want that as clean as possible for when it makes contact with the cooler, so there isn't any oils or greases or anything. Technically, the best way to do it is like scrub down your CPU a little bit with, I guess, some isopropyl, but really that's not necessary. All right, so next, you just need to get this little tiny thermal paste tube opened and just cutting around the edges of the plastic so I can get it open. There we go. When do I get my man? I've been waiting for that sponsor, right? Right, Pinky. I use their stuff and rep their stuff so much. Yeah, maybe soon. Maybe I just need to be like, hey, you know how many times I mention your stuff in my videos? Probably about as much as J2 cents when you're paying him to do it. Yeah. Benchmade knife. No, this is a Kershaw knife. My father-in-law got this for me like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. Solid knife. I like how it opens too. Just flips open. Still pretty darn sharp. I sharpened it a few times now. So it has whittled the tip down to the lock won't grab it anymore, but I like how it easily opens and is a pretty small knife to fit in your pocket when you're working on PCs or anything else. I need to get a big fancy knife like Paul's Hardware where it sounds like a machete being drawn every time he opens his knife. Do I have this lined up? I think so. I am on. Yep. Okay. And we've got the V mounted the correct way. So here we go. Let's just mash this guy down a little bit. Few turns to start on the corners. I always say you don't want to over tighten one side because then it'll be really pulling in one direction. So just give a few turns to start. Make sure you're making contact too. That should be good to start really mashing down. That thermal paste actually that they provide is pretty decent stuff too. Vetra does a good job. I like their products. I need to take a look at some other coolers that they have, like the I know Pinky, you've looked at their AIOs and stuff. I think they even have cases now too, so maybe talk to them next about sending me over some parts or something. since I repped their brand pretty much without them knowing it too. Alright, almost got this guy down. Usually once you pretty much just screw this down, they're spring loaded until it stops, and then you're done. There we go. Okay, then lastly we're just going to get the fan mounted. I think I'm just going to leave things tied up as they are for now. It's just to give me something easier to work with. They supply, I think, 4 clips here, which is nice. In case you could add a push-pull setup where you could have like a fan behind it as well, but honestly, I don't think that's really necessary unless you get like dual tower cooler. You can do it maybe just for the aesthetics, I'd say. It's going to really benefit you the most there. Alright, with these are sometimes fun. So first thing, I want to get my cables lined up to where it needs to go. So I've got my CPU fan headers right there, so I'll just make sure that these fan cable are basically pointing off in the direction I need to. And also, if you guys haven't noticed, the great thing about this cooler is look at how I'm tucking it in between the RAM. So it's got good RAM clearance too. That's what I really like about this cooler. Alright. Get one attached. These are always fun to do. So you gotta have tension on it when you're putting it down, otherwise it'll just pop right back off. There we go. There's one. The other one should go on. Oh, actually, probably take one of the RAM slots out just so I can reach it. But it's not impeding on it. I just can't get this thing in here. Oh, I guess I got enough room for my fingers, actually, after all. Beautiful. Fully clipped on. Okay, we'll put that RAM stick back in. I guess I actually didn't need to do that. Beautiful. All right, I'm liking how this is coming together. So there is RAM, CPU cooler, and we've got the NVMe under the northmost heatsink there. So this is where I go into the case. So we'll bring the case back up in here. The other things we need to do is we have to work with the power supply because we got to make one additional power run for the GPU because the GPU is dual 8-pin versus his old GPU was a single 8-pin. So I'm just trying to make myself some room here real quick. I'm getting all the unnecessary, unneeded things kind of out of the way for the moment. Stand by. Okay, I don't think I'm going to need my little iFixit screwdriver anymore. Thank you, iFixit. Someday, like Pinky said, I'll rep your brand in a different way. Okay. Alright, that's good. Probably just go ahead and get the motherboard box out of the way too. We'll set the motherboard just kind of up over here and give you guys a scene that's a little different. I don't need that either, so get that little screw out there. Okay. Bringing in the case. It's actually going relatively smooth so far. Alright, there we go. What we'll do is we'll lay it back down just how it was, and I'm going to push these connections just back through to the back side of the case because I have a feeling some of it won't work in the same exact locations as it did before. So we'll just kind of do it like it's a new build at this point. That's a little Wi-Fi thing. Yeah, and I'll have to snip some cable ties back here too to get access to things. This fan, well, that'll be fine once we lay it down. I kind of want this coming through already because that will be helpful. All right, here we go. Jonathan Talks Hardware says, any thoughts on the NZXT H9? That's one of the, I think their brand new case, right? I believe I've seen some things on the media about that. I don't recall what it looks like though, so you'll have to enlighten me there. But I think it's not the one that's got like a bunch of fans, right? Like 9 fans? Is that what the H9 means? I like NZXT too. Just in general, their products are really good quality. Case builds are excellent quality. They think of the PC builder in terms of that, so I really like it for that. Dun, Let's do the scene here. I'm just trying to get you guys a good spot to see what I'm doing. All right, so we got to remove the old I/O shield. Don't need that because this one has a fancy, nice built-in one. So another little quality upgrade here with this system as well. All right, so we're going to grab the motherboard assembly by the cooler. Get it on in here. Coming in gentle, trying to get that EPS power cable. It's binding up. Come on, gather. There we go. Alright. HD audio cable is giving me a fit. Gather. Okay, it's out. Alright, now this should kind of just slide in easily. Get her lined up in the back. Beautiful. And on that one peg. Awesome. That was pretty smooth. Cool. Alright, so back to a boring part of me screwing these things back in. And I keep up with you guys. So the great thing about this build here is the idea is we're anticipating is he's going to reap the rewards of all the hardware upgrade, but basically, he's got his OS as it was. So all of his files and settings and everything just remains the same. We're going to have to reactivate Windows. That's the only thing, just because the motherboard has changed, and that's how that's tracked with your motherboard MAC address. So not a big deal. I've got a video sponsor I do that stuff for. By the way, guys, this is just my own plug. I have been working with SCD Key. If you guys have noticed, one of the few real, I guess, pre-roll ad sponsors I've done so far. You can use my code to get a Windows operating system activation for a good price. I actually use my own code, so I've used that code, not just talking about it, but I've actually used it plenty of times already. I got some things misaligned, so I'm just trying to get things in alignment. I think that should follow the same patterns, if I'm not mistaken, since we are ATX board to ATX board here. We're not doing a different size. Yeah, I think I was just off in my alignment just ever so slightly. The screw is fighting me. I think I got it now. Come on now. What is the deal with? Oh, do I have the back? No, that's okay. Thought I might have accidentally been yanking on the standoff. I think I got it now. I got one screw fighting me. I'll come back to that one. Maybe it'll pull everything in alignment, and that one will just go in easy afterwards. Oh, ooh, yeah, I did forget to peel a plastic. I think I can still grab it with it being in here like this. I meant to do that before I put everything in. But we've got a protective plastic piece over the back side of the I/O shield, just to help keep fingerprints and dirt and stuff on it when it's brand new. Off of it when it's brand new. Not on it. That would be weird. Alright, so checking out the chat. Jonathan, you were talking about the H9. Oh, yeah, so better than the... Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I was thinking of. You're right. Correct, sir. So, oh, man, that's going to be fun to plug in that HDMI, or that EPS cable. Sorry, I got distracted like a squirrel there for a second. Yeah, now I remember that one kind of looks like the NZ or the O11 Dynamic or whatever. Everybody's kind of used that case design. I should have probably also plugged in the power. I'm seeing I'm running out of finger room in here, but we'll figure it out. All right, get this one. I think we're about done on the screws. 2 there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and I'm just gonna circle back on the stubborn one there in a second. I think these two are... What is the dealio here? I see it. It's a screw strip. No, it's okay. The height Y60. Oh, yeah. Okay. I gotta get more on the new cases now. It's tough to keep up with all of them. They are always putting out new stuff. Okay, for some reason that screw is just not cooperating whatsoever. This one I felt like was doing something funny. Yeah, let me try this one in that other spot. They look like they're lined up. Sorry guys, it's probably hard for you to see what I'm doing, but I got two screws here at the bottom of the motherboard that are just kind of not playing nice. We'll get it figured out. Make sure I was using the right screws too. I am. I think this one's got a hold of the standoff. It's not coming out. That is unfortunate when that happens. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay, got it. I would say that would not have been fun. Alright, I might need to throw some extra light on this real quick. Yeah, that is right on the money. Could be the standoff being funky. Yeah, I'm spinning inside the standoff. See if I can get a different screw to bite on it. That. Try these. Okay, that bit. Got it. Yeah, then, you know, these are not standoffs that I have if I need to replace a standoff. No big deal. I have a billion of them. So sometimes that'll happen. I think I did kind of chew up those screws, so that's all right. We aren't going to have any problem with that. I'll just have to get a couple extra screws for the GPU if those ones don't end up biting too easily for us. Okay, so now looking at it. Down in here, which you guys probably can't really see too well, I gotta plug in the CPU EPS power, which I think I should be able to get my hand on, since I still have that fan out of the way. Just a matter of, I kind of have to feel what I'm doing right now, honestly. And this connector is trying to come apart into two pieces, which is fun. So bear with me here. Not a whole lot to look at. Come on, stop coming apart on me. These are the real struggles that the tech YouTubers won't show you unless you're doing a live stream. I'm trying to see if maybe I can get it in this way a little better. Yeah, I think I can do it this way actually easier. Just gotta make sure my connector's all together first. Damn thing. Try to do it with one hand. Alright, let's switch the view here. See, you can see what I'm working on. That's the back side. Okay, let me put you guys right here. Maybe here. Trying to get the EPS power connected. My hand is scraping up along against the cooler. Not a lot of space. Might have been better for us to plug it in before we got the motherboard in. Well, I also have the cable tied down, so I think I'm going to have to... That's half of my problem, is that if I had a little bit of slack to work with first, I'm going to have to snip this cable off the back so I can pull it up a little higher first. Because I just did. There we go. Just had that one tied there. Okay. That'll help when I have more slack to work with. Now I can put the cable back together. Because it came apart. There we go. Now this should go on easy. I say that. Just can't see what I'm doing. Almost. Come on. Lord. I'm struggling, guys. Yeah. There we go. Just got to do it by feel. All right. Whew. That was fun, just for one cable. I'm glad I had this tie here, so I just undid it. Now I'm redoing it, and it's back in tight. Okay. All right. So we got that. We can get this fan probably back over into its position that it was before, so it's out of the way for the CPU stuff that we're about to plug in. Let's see here, make sure you guys can see that easily. So not really. So I'm just getting the screws back on this top fan here. I had to move it in order to plug some things in. Now they got those things plugged in, we can be good. And so it's basically, actually, I think I can do this for you. There we go. This fan right here. Now I'm fighting the height of my desk here, workstation. There's one. Yeah, that is one thing that is the only thing that is, I guess, unfortunate about this case is it's pretty compact, and that's not a bad thing, but it's for squeezing in things like what I was just trying to do, it definitely makes it a little bit difficult. But we got it. The idea is basically when you do it once, pretty much, unless you're doing upgrades, you're not really going to have to do it again. So, but as far as like utilizing all of the internal space, I think this case does a really good job of just trying to get these dang things going. I know you guys probably lost sight a little bit of what I'm doing. Just trying to get that fan. I got the diagonals rolling. Now it's all coming back, sucking back to where it was. So here we go. That's what I'm working on. This guy. Get this last two screws back on. Shouldn't really have to mess with it at all anymore. All right. Give it 2 weeks, and the next stream is updating the upgrade. Well, hey, no, it's fine. I'm happy to do it. I have a feeling though this won't be this client's last PC build though. We've already talked about some things, so coming together with the white, I think that's looking good, and it's gonna look really good with the white GPU right here. So I think this is pretty well balanced in terms of the whites and the blacks. Okay, I do need to get the CPU fan header. I'm gonna run this cable here. This is the RGB cable. I'm gonna run it behind the motherboard. We'll plug that in. I think with the NZXT case, it should have an LED plug-in. I'll double check. It does already have some pre-installed RGB things, so that's cool. I'm hoping we can do that just to get it synced up nicely. We'll get something rolling, with color control, whether it be that or something else. And then get this guy on. You guys probably really can't see a whole lot of what I'm doing. I can barely see what I'm doing. Just trying to plug in the CPU fan header. Should have done that before I put the motherboard in. Got ahead of myself a little bit. That's for making this fun here. Nearly got it. There it is. And with the cable still a bit tied up, should be able to tuck it nicely, I think, around the back side of the cooler. Let's see, what is that? My cup is bouncing around. Alright. I think we can do something like that. Yeah. Not liking that. I don't like it. It's not clean. It's just kind of bundled up. So I'll unravel the cable and then stick the slack of it on the back side of the motherboard and only bring in the little bit that needs to plug into the motherboard back in. That's alright. That's completely fine. Get that in there. Tuck some of the slack behind. Almost there. Again, this is the feeling, build by feel right now. Okay. Beautiful. That's going to look so much better. I'll just get that tied down in the back and we'll be good to go. Okay, so let's go back to the overhead, get the rest of the stuff plugged in terms of power, and move on to the GPU, and we're almost done. Alright, so here we got the motherboard 24 pin that we got to pull out from the cable management bracket here. Should, I think, line up the same way. Yes, it does. Thank you. That's beautiful. So we can just get that guy plugged right back in. Here we go. We'll probably have to do the fine nitty-gritty work after the stream because the cable's kind of becoming untrained a little bit, and just I'll get it looking nice and neat. But speaking of that, the power cables, actually gonna sit it right back up because we got to get to the power supply itself, which is gonna be a fun one. There we go. We're gonna have to, at least, actually, before I get to the GPU, I gotta plug in the other components, so we'll get to that. But I do want to fetch, I think I did this in a way where I was able to reach, yes, I'm glad I did it that way. So I did this in a way where I was able to basically plug in the additional VGA cable without having to pull the CPU out. So I kept in mind potential upgrades coming down the road. And this thing coming back to me, so that'll make this process easy. So I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So what we're talking about here is there's just the very kind of outside port to the power supply is open, and it'll allow me to plug in this cable, because we got to plug in the cable for what comes from the power supply, which we got a 750 watt GT from EVGA. Just make sure I got it going the right way, because I really can't see once I get it in there. Still gonna be probably a challenge, but the idea here is I don't have to pull the whole power supply out, because as you can see, we've got a lot of stuff tied off right now. Trying to minimize that. Get on there. Beautiful. That didn't go in too badly. Got it. Okay. Gonna take just a quick 2 seconds to catch up with you guys. All right. It's cold here in Florida for some reason. Yeah, I guess that's not always a thing with Florida, right, Jonathan? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's actually chilly here in Texas, but I think it's warming up towards the later part of the week. So, okay, so I cannot plug into the LED control for NZXT. It's very proprietary, but we've got plenty of LED headers on the motherboard that I'm not worried about. We'll just have to find a place to plug in, and then we can synchronize the RGB. Hold on that. There we go. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to get the Asia Horse extension for the GPU set up for this extra power supply cable. So we'll do a quick little, let me get this out of the way, don't need this anymore. Do a little top down of getting that set up. I think all we'll need is, we've got the leftover one from when we did the build, and just got to put a couple cable combs on it and be good to go. Now, one thing I want to test though is the orientation of the cable, so that way it buttons up nicely with what the GPU wants. I'm gonna have to turn the PC back up for a second. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's take a look at this GPU real quick. This beast. This thing ain't no joke. Just want to make sure the power cable... Okay, perfect. So this is what we'll be dealing with here in just a moment, but that's going to look good. So we got to get that power cable So it looks like as this one's coming through, it'll connect up nicely. I just want to make sure the orientation, because sometimes actually I think EVGA, even though I guess that's not a thing to worry about too much anymore since they're not making video cards anymore, their power connectors on their PCBs of their video cards are actually backwards to like everybody else. So I just want to make sure we're good there. All right, and then we've got, what, about 3 cable combs on it already, so we'll just kind of match up what this one is already doing. All right, so this is the end of the GPU side, and if we're coming up like this, we're putting the cable combs over on the clip side like that. Okay, perfect. Don't forget to plug in the front USB. Yep, I got all that stuff I'm going to do here in just a moment. I was just going to get this cable ran through where this one already is, since we needed an extra one while we were still in the back of the PC. But thanks for the reminder. I might have forgotten. Wouldn't be the first time I forgot something like that. Okay, so the way I've got those set up is, yeah, okay. This is kind of tedious things to do here. This is purely really for aesthetic, but I think this definitely makes this build pop for sure with the whites and blacks going on. It's just a really good look. All right, and then once we usually get one of these on, things kind of go easier because we can just kind of slide that down. We're going to put 2 more on. Now it kind of gets everything lined up. Okay, so how many, so I guess this begs the question, how many of y'all run cable extensions in your builds? And what brand do you like to use? Do you like Asia Horse? I've come to known as, I don't think they're like, you know, of the same quality of, whatchamacallit, who's the big one? Now I'm trying to remember. Cable Mod. But this is still pretty good quality if you ask me. And I like the factor of these are like 20, 25 bucks. My personal rig, I kind of went crazy. You guys probably seen in the background of my videos when I'm sitting at my desk is I'm running the Lee & Lee strimmers. I actually want to get the updated ones because apparently they added like tons more LEDs into them and it's a lot more customizable. But how many of you guys are running cable extensions in your builds, or are you just raw power cable from the manufacturer? Let me know. Alright, so what I'm going to do to make this easy on myself, I'm just going to run this down in through here so you guys can see a little bit easier. Probably do it like so. And then I'll connect the power cable in the back once I get this through. Wherever this is going to end up. It's going to be we're going to be stuffing this thing in here for sure. Again, it'll be something I probably tidy up in the end before I give it back to the client. Got a little bit of dust here I'll blow out for them. Not anything too bad. But I do want to get this RGB cable plugged in, and that'll be a time, since I don't have the GPU in, to get all the rest of the small cables plugged in as well. I think there's an RGB header at the top. Yeah, let's check that out real quick. That is, yeah, the 5 volt and the other one. So that's the 3 pin that we're looking for. So we'll just switch it to this scene so you guys can see what I'm doing, kind of. Maybe, sort of. Not really. Alright, there we go. Bringing this cable kind of back through, really almost the place that we just tucked it. First off, I gotta get it through. There we go. Just plugging in this RGB cable, because I don't really have anything else that is that's going to have some RGB control other than what's on the motherboard. I really hate plugging in the 5 volt cables, by the way. Sorry, scratching my mic on the... These things always seem to go in funky. But basically we're doing this so we can get... There we go. So we can get some RGB control on the fan. Cool. Alright. Gonna have some cable management work to do for sure. Alright, so I'm gonna plug in behind the scene here just the PSU cable to the system. So now we'll have both of them set up. Come on, there we go. And let's see where I need to bring in the front panel connections. Let's see, USB 3 is down below, and actually I think where I kind of already had it was good. So we'll send that guy on up. And the notch is at the top. Let's see, make sure you guys can see that okay. Yeah. Alright, we'll put that guy back kind of almost where it was. That's good. Doesn't mess up our cable management as it was. Oh, one thing we were missing with the old motherboard was USB C connector at the front panel, because the old motherboard is kind of before the standard. So I'm pulling that out. I gotta snip a cable so he can use the front USB C as well as the rear instead of just only the rear. Now I gotta find my snips. I'm looking for them off camera here. Hold on. There they go. Nope, that's not them. There they are. So an added built-in upgrade. Sorry, you guys can't really see what I'm doing. I'm just snipping the cable out in the rear, so we can bring that in, because that goes right next to our USB 3.0. So let's see, good way to run this. Yeah, that should be fine. And that's going right here. I'm glad he's now going to be able to use this. I don't like the position or placement of the connector, but that'll work. Yeah, man, that cable is... There we go. Alright. Next, we've got front panel. Oh yeah, I forgot with that other motherboard. The front panel is in kind of a funky spot, more kind of over towards the middle. So I have to snip another cable to get the front panel deal going. Alright, and that's got to snake its way back more towards where the normal front panel connectors are, I guess, as a typical standard now these days. Good thing with this is, I forgot with the Zen ZXT cases, they bundle the panel all together as one unit. So I'm just going to plug it straight in. Don't need to use the Gigabyte Smart connector thing, whatever. I don't think so. Can't really see what I'm doing. Yeah. Pardon me, guys. This is an area where I really need to like look in, and I can't see what I'm doing. All right, so we've got, yeah, that should work, I believe. We'll find out. Okay, I think that'll go in just fine. So yeah, Gigabyte does give you something that's kind of, I guess, similar. Where did I have it earlier? Their front panel smart connector thing. That's kind of all blurry. They're nice. Sometimes it actually, I've noticed, it makes it stick out really far from the motherboard. So I like the fact that NZXTs kind of do it with their cases. So I was able to just plug it into the standard front panel pins, and we're good to go. Let's see, last thing here is the HD audio, which is right here. Snake it on through. My scene here. Where's the best scene here for this? Okay, here it comes. Sorry about that. And that should, I believe, plug in just with the lettering facing upwards. Might be downwards, actually, if I remember correctly. Yep. I gotta flip it. Kind of like that anyway, so yeah, that way you don't have the gaudy lettering visible. Okay, so we've got 3.0, C front panel, and a USB, I think, for the NZXT controller out back. And we've got USB right here. We actually freed up a USB for any kind of other things, because I had that for the wireless controller before, which it's not going to need anymore, because we got it built into this board. Alright, beautiful. And speaking of that wireless thing, I do have to fish that cable out, because I had to use a... Okay, I Actually, I'll do that later because that's a lot of cable mess to muck with. Kind of like how my streams normally go. Like, this is what it looks like in the end. I'm not going to turn around the backside just because I got a lot of cable management work to do. It's always a good hour or so investment afterwards, just getting things kind of right back how you really want it. So anyway, I can get these things out of the way. So the last thing, guys, we've got the GPU. So let's get it going. I'm going to bring it back in. All right. So this GPU, like I said, it was a little bit of a buy in terms of fitting the aesthetic more than anything. Let me just get it in a full screen. So we could have possibly gone with like maybe a 3080, which from a 3070 to a 3070 Ti to a 3080 isn't a huge difference anyway. But I think this just matched the aesthetic so well. So this is a Gigabyte Vision RTX 3070 Ti. I do have a link to Amazon that sells these. They're still like hit or miss. We bought it used, and it actually was used from a miner. So I made sure everything is already functional on this card. Cleaned it up. It's basically, I'd say it's looking pretty much brand new. It looks great, and I already tested it and everything. So yeah, again, if you guys are looking for buying GPUs, now is a beautiful time to check out the used market because all these X miners are dumping their inventory. So I mean, it's a win for us builders and gamers out there. I do remember this piece of plastic and I wanted to peel off the side of the motherboard that I can't quite see. With it turned that direction, see if I can get my fingers on it without having to take the motherboard out. That would be very unfortunate. Oh, come on. There's like a lip usually where you can grab it. There we go. I think I got it started. Yeah. Oh, well, there's a piece of it. Almost. There we go. Yeah, that would have not been fun to have to peel that. So I'm getting off. Or pull the whole motherboard out to peel it is what I was trying to get at. So let me make sure I got all that. Nope. Definitely something you want to do as you're getting the board in, not after the fact. Especially since I didn't really have a whole lot of finger room earlier. Okay, that's all of it. So that basically just protects the right there. It was sitting right there on the Aorus logo. So now it's all nice and shiny. Now let's get this in. Oh, I want to check my screws that I peeled off, took off. Yeah, it's these right here. Okay. Because I have a couple screws I was going to put on the GPU. All right. Let's get this bad boy in. Actually, I think... Yeah, check this out. So, if this is any good indicator that the GPU is still in really good condition, still got little peely stickers on the fans. And there's, trying to get it where you guys can see it. There we go. There's one. Make that beautiful looking. There's two. Got three fans here. Dang it. And three. So did I start a fire here? We're talking about mining. Yeah, to hit on what Pinky Tech is saying, I do have, actually I'm going to leave that on as I get it in. I do have a Discord server I plugged a little earlier if you guys weren't here. If you have any particular troubleshooting style questions or you just want to know about pretty much anything and want to discuss tech, PC building, I've got that available and linked in the description of this live stream. So that way, if there's deeper questions or troubleshooting or setup show off or just general chat about life, feel free to join my Discord channel and we can jump on that. But yeah, love to have you guys if you aren't members. And it's also a really, really good way I found to keep track of my video posts. I think I want a different screw. I think this is yeah, this. not the correct screw. I'm gonna probably actually find some better ones. Okay, so this should have been. Let's just double check here. I'm getting screws on here real fast for the card. Yeah. I feel like these screws got beat up. I'm gonna get some different ones real quick. Come on, come on, come on, come on. What I'll do is, yeah, it's the same screw. It's just, for some reason, they're not biting. I got tons of screws, though. What do you guys think about that GPU, though? I think that kind of sets it off. Should have had it on this scene, sorry. There we go. Be about boot time here just a second. I was just going to get some screws here that'll better work with the side here. I think my 2 screws I had got kind of chewed up. This one looks like those threads are good and healthy. If you guys have been doing PC builds as long as I have, I definitely highly suggest buying yourself a little organizer like this. Try to keep everything nicely together from builds. But I've accumulated lots of screws over time, as you can see. But this is super helpful. Here's one I want. There we go. And we got this little IO shield thing to replace. I think we should have it in our original box. I told the client of this PC to bring that back with him, because we'll have some things to change around a little bit, which probably there was more screws in here anyway, but oh well. Black screw is a black screw if you ask me. It works. So we should have the extra. There we go. That's what I was looking for. The extra PCIe expansion bracket cover, so that doesn't look janky. And get one of these screws on there. Okay, and then we'll get this little decorative, well, I guess it's kind of functional, but I really would not put a vertical mounted GPU in this case. There is no room for it to breathe, so this is honestly just more aesthetics than anything. Come on, get in there. There we go. And screws on with thumb screw. Okay, buttoned up. Alright, let me get all this extra stuff back out of the way, because you guys know what time it's about to be. Do need to plug in the actual power on the GPU. You know, that's helpful. Alright, so we'll do that. One power connector. Try to not pull on it. And that, yeah, I gotta need a little more. There we go. This one's gotta pull it up through a little bit. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna spend some time retraining these cables, making it look pretty, because it's definitely needing it. Okay, make sure those are in there. Looking pretty good. Do just a rough training here of the cables. Cool. All right. Oh yeah, those definitely need to kind of come together and run in a particular uniform way. I'll get that all sorted out. So, what do you guys think? I mean, we added some white, but I think overall, like, it still goes together really well. Oh yeah, last thing I'm gonna do is pull this little peely off the side there. Nice. Make sure I didn't dislodge the graphics card doing that. Okay, so moment of truth. We should see this sucker basically boot straight into Windows. There we go. Just give you a good angle. There we go. Grab my mini portable monitor. What do we got here? So why can't James use the motherboard Wi-Fi connector? He can. I'm not sure I understand the question, but this motherboard has one built in, the Gigabyte board. Is that what you're asking there, Jonathan? Oh, you're talking about how he connects it at home. Okay. Yeah, I think he plugs it straight in. But I wanted him to at least have the optional Wi-Fi in the last build, in case he ever needed it, and had that available. So I don't think he's going to use it much because like he just said, he just plugs it straight into his modem. But yeah, I think that's always a good thing. And most now motherboards have that feature built in. I know you can get some that don't have it. That's kind of like a very cheap, like $10 offset in cost that motherboard manufacturers do if they are really trying to make it budget. Why can't I plug this in here? Come on. All right, and I just need power on this guy and power on the PC. It should be good to go. I think power, yeah, on this side too. There's that. Give a full view here. I think, I'm just kind of going through things in my head. I think we're good. I think we've done everything. I think we're, other than having to do some re-cable management out back and cable training, I think we did everything, guys, right? All right, wagers on posting for the first time and just going straight into Windows. What do you guys think? Think we'll be good? Well, let's find out. Power is on. Already had power going on the RAM LEDs, so we got that spinning. Looks like we got lights on the fan and lights on the GPU. Give us the post. Do you have this all plugged in right, I believe? My motherboard, or is my... Oh, I think my monitor's turned off. No, it's on. Could be taking a second to post just because this is like... We just put it through... Yeah, there we go. So we just put it through a lot, changing out hardware like crazy. Now let's see if it actually starts spinning and going right into Windows. Alright, looks like it's going through some memory training. Yep, we got the Windows spinnies. Alright, for sake of personal information, I'm just going to close that down for the client. But, guys, we got it rolling. And we got a post right off the bat, so that's looking pretty solid. Obviously, I'm also going to have to address... It's funny, actually. It retained 2 of his memory modules, white LEDs, but the other ones are going wild. So there's some things I'll have to do within the motherboard software and all that, as far as getting all the LEDs set up. But all the fans are spinning. It's just minor little tiny things to get done. I do kind of wish you could see those other RAM sticks and other things. Whoop, I bumped the power cable there. Running all white, because he had it all set up as all white, so it looks really sleek with that, especially with like that white LEDs that run across the top here on this case. But what do you guys think? Solid upgrades? Think it'll do well in this case? Just looking at it, should close nicely. Actually, I guess we can do that as just a quick little test here to see what it looks like with the side panel on. Just off camera grabbing that. But this isn't really tinted too dark. I'll have to get my fingerprints off of it here. But I think it's just the right amount of tint on this case too, that kind of like really looks pretty darn good, I'd say. But yeah, check that out. Looking good. It's definitely still one of my favorite PC builds. Now it's even more of my favorite that I've done recently, because now it's got some sweet upgrades. So yeah, what we're talking here. Oh, the RAM synced up. Nice. Well, the fan isn't going to, because I think I need to install motherboard software for it. But that's cool. It actually synced up. Yeah, so we've got 5800X, Vitra V5 cooler, 3070 Ti GPU upgrade. We've added an additional 32 gigs of RAM, so now we've got 64 gigs of RAM, all buttoned up inside the nice H510 Elite. It's definitely moving air. I feel it. It feels nice because I'm getting hot in here, but I'd say that about does it, guys. I'm gonna probably maybe clip a short little video of this stream, maybe just a few little high level things here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I mean, aside from some cable management, this sucker's ready to go back to its owner to be gaming at the next echelon. But anyway, I think that'll wrap it up for the stream, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for those that have been it's been a lot of people kind of going back and forth. I tried to keep up with the chat as much as I could, but there was a lot going on, and I was trying to get this done for the client. So stay tuned for some further upcoming videos from me. Obviously, I got some other cool things in the works, but that will do it for this stream, guys. Thanks for tuning into this one. Appreciate your time, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy, guys.